Registered representatives offer securities through Securities America, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Financial advisors offer advisory services through Securities America Advisors, Inc. Forest Hills Financial, Inc. and Securities America are separate entities. This is the Keeping Your Money Show with Jamie Westenbarger and Bart Steindler.
Good morning. Welcome to Keeping Your Money Show. I'm Jamie Westenbarger, joined as always by my esteemed colleague, Mr. Bart Steindler. Bart, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. It's another $1 million morning.
It is indeed. We are in the middle of August, couple weeks, and kids are going back to school, and college is rolling back around, and football's starting, and getting fall real quick.
You know what? The middle of August, what I have to do every year?
What?
I have to remind people and wish my wife a very, very happy birthday.
All right. Happy birthday, Kathy.
Yeah. And, I give people advice a lot of times about, when they're starting out in relationships and spending habits and things like that. And I tell them that, when you're starting out and you're buying, little presents for each other and stuff, that a lot of times, the person you're going out with, the longer you go in that relationship, they are going to compare what you give them to what you gave them before.
So you're like at a point where anything less than a Maserati is just not really that impressive?
Well, we're going, it's been 39 years, and it's getting a little bit difficult to, keep topping the last one.
Right. My grandpa, when I was very young, I was going on a date. I want to say I was 13, 14 years old, and going to take a girl to a movie, and he says, now remember, whatever you do, if you end up dating this girl for a while or not very long at all, you never start with a dozen roses. He goes, because a dozen roses means next time you need to do 24 roses. And pretty soon, if you've been dating for 10 years, you're going to have to buy the whole flower shop. He says, so when you have an anniversary, you give 1 rose per year. He goes, then even if you're married for 60 years, you're only at 5 dozen roses.
There you go. Smart man.
So see, he knew exactly what you were talking about way back then.
Yeah.
Well, this is the Keeping Your Money Show, where we cut through all the bulls, the booyahs, bells, whistles, honks, and horns to get you to the information that actually helps you move towards retirement. We've got some great topics we're going to talk about today. We're going to discuss, are consumers potentially in harm's way because the financial industry is so fragmented in the way that it's regulated? We're going to help you kind of weed through that a little bit. Credit cards are rolling back benefits. They're taking away things you may even think you still have on that card. We're going to talk about making sure you really understand what you're even potentially paying an annual fee to have, and maybe you don't even have it anymore. Bill Gross, well-known fund manager, been around for years, having a horrible year. And the head of Janus talks about how maybe he's just chosen some bad things this year. I want to concentrate, though, not on just him specifically, but how we can get comfortable maybe in a name brand, whether it's in investing or maybe a manager because of their past performance, or maybe even a financial advisor who we've been with for a really long time, but are we really scrutinizing how well they're still doing for us? And then lethal investing mistakes you continue to make, even though you probably know you should stop making them. All that and more here on the Keeping Your Money Show. If you miss any part of the show, you can always find it on our website. That's at keepingyourmoney.com. You can also find out all of our podcasts on our podcast partners, iTunes, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Stitcher. Just search for the Keeping Your Money Show. If you have a question for the show or you'd like to schedule a free consultation with Bart or myself, you're welcome to give us a call anytime. That phone number is 888-98-MONEY. That's 888-986-6639. Or shoot us an email, info@keepingyourmoney.com. That's info@keepingyourmoney.com. So let's talk about our industry and the way that our industry is regulated, because I think for people that aren't in any type of financial industry, they may not realize how really fragmented the overall regulation is, whether it's insurance companies or banks, whether it's the SEC or it's FINRA or it's state regulators or it's all of these, and they don't really work in harmony all that well.
No.
Because they're all kind of specializing in their one area of regulation, which many times can allow, it can allow people to fall through the cracks, whether it's people who shouldn't be giving advice in the first place, or maybe products that aren't necessarily as suitable for, an investor as maybe it appears they are. And it can cause a lot of problems.
I think during the last decade, too, we've seen and I'm thinking of the DOL fiduciary rule that was
or the
proposed.
Consumer Financial Protection Agency that
Right.
really hasn't done anything new.
Where some of these agencies identify something that they think is wrong, but it's under the direction of another agency. So they're actually trying to expand their authority at the expense of the other agency. And then if you're like someone like us that has to, follow a certain set of rules and follow a certain set of regulations, and then all of a sudden you have two agencies fighting over who's going to control that regulation, and you're sitting there going, well, when's this going to shake out? How much is it going to cost to shake out? And when are we going to know what the final ruling is? And that's something that's been going on for several years now.
Right. And then you even look at it from the standpoint of, if I'm just, the everyday consumer I want to go get financial advice. I mean, we hear all the time, like, go to FINRA's broker check to check out your potential advisor, or go to the SEC's website to check it out. But many times, who's regulated and where can be very different. So you may be talking to someone who falls under RIA, and so they're regulated by the SEC. You may be talking to an insurance agent who's simply just regulated within the state of Michigan and doesn't have the same exposure. You may be talking to a registered representative who's governed by FINRA. You may be talking to someone who's governed by all of those entities. So as a consumer trying to get information on my potential advisor, that can be really confusing too. And I think it can lead to what we've seen more and more of, which is these borderline, licensed people. I won't say that they're anything other than that, because they may hold themselves out to be a retirement specialist or elder care, blah, 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 or whatever. But in reality, many times they're a life insurance agent and they're just selling annuities, and that's really it.
Yeah, so if someone's trying to build your whole retirement plan on one product, that, and here again, every case is different, okay? So I'm not trying to cast dispersions on your specific case. It might be the right thing, it might not. But generally speaking, if a whole retirement plan is based on one product, I would be a little bit suspect of that, and certainly at least get a second opinion.
Well, and I would say too, if someone's holding a dinner seminar at Ruth's Chris or something like that, and that person isn't a fully licensed individual, they don't have the plethora of products, services, investment options available to you, it kind of limits their expertise and really even, their ability to do what they need to do for you. And unfortunately, because of all of the amalgamation of regulation, it's sometimes hard to sort through all of that unless you just ask, flat out ask, like, what's your situation? I mean, we've heard a lot about fiduciary. That's been flying around for a lot, but it's important to know that the person you're sitting down with is working in your best interest. And what a lot of people don't realize is, there are a lot of financial planners, retirement specialists, whatever, and their only requirement is that whatever they're recommending is suitable. And I read a really interesting, there's a guy named Michael, and I'm going to say his last name wrong, so I apologize, Mike, but it's like Katisis, and he writes a lot about the financial industry. And he says, the best way to describe suitability versus fiduciary, right? Suitability is you're a man and you're going to a wedding, so you buy a suit. Right? Because it's the appropriate thing to buy. Fiduciary is the suit actually fits well and looks nice on you. Yeah. And I think that's a great way to describe it, because you may need a moderate, aggressive investment strategy, but there are a million different ways you can go with that as your investment needs. And all of them, or many of them, could be quote unquote suitable, but that doesn't necessarily mean many or most of them are going to actually be what you need. And making sure that the person who's making recommendations for you is making those recommendations based on what they truly feel is in your best interest is really important, because you may think the government agencies are out there doing a lot of this, scrutinization and checking for you, but the reality is a lot of times they're just stepping on each other's toes and they're not doing it.
An easier way to find that out, maybe to ask a question like, what are the groups of products that you have available to help to help people solve their retirement issues. And if the only thing they have are insurance products, then that shows that they don't have a lot of tools in their toolbox.
Right.
You know, it's like you wouldn't hire a builder to build your house if his toolbox had a saw, a hammer, and a couple of screwdrivers in it.
Right,
okay?
right.
He's going to need more than that to build your house. And the same thing is true with retirement planning. If the person you're working with only has a couple of different insurance products and that's how he's going to build your retirement plan, well, there again, you need to get a second opinion. You need to talk to more people. You need to get more educated about what options are out there to help you.
Well, and even along the lines of, and this isn't always the case, but, you know, if you're currently working with someone, or even if you've currently built your own portfolio, to come in and say you have to change every single thing that you're doing in order for it to be correct probably indicates there's some lack of availability of things as well. You know,
Yeah.
you should be able to transfer over most of your investments as they are and make changes over time, which we do a lot of times for people, you know. Or you may have some stuff, maybe you have some stock or something that you want to hold on to, and it's good. You know, it makes sense that you want to hold on to it. I mean, a fully licensed and capable financial advisor will be able to accommodate that. You know, someone who is a quote unquote financial professional, but isn't fully licensed and maybe is geared more in the insurance world, isn't going to be able to accommodate that. They're going to need you to purchase the products that they sell. They're not going to be able to work with, you know, current things that you have in place. And that can kind of be a red flag too. If I have to take my $1 million portfolio and completely move it over to everything, you know, that you're selling me, there's nothing in between there, then, you know, there's probably some conflict of interest that you want to explore a little bit further. And I think the biggest thing is just realizing that you are your best advocate. You are your biggest defender. You are the person who needs to ultimately make sure that the choices that are being offered to you are in your best interest, and not necessarily just because that's what's available to the person who bought you a steak dinner last Wednesday, you know. And I think that's what's really important. And I concentrate on the steak dinner not because that automatically assumes that the person doing a seminar at a steakhouse is not a quality advisor. It's just there's been a plethora of those coming out lately. We see a lot of them, you know, where come and listen to our presentation, and many times those presentations are geared strictly at selling you insurance products.
Yeah, I heard one on the radio the other day too, and it said that you know, the first 10 people that call will get a free consultation.
Yeah.
Okay, and that really bothers me. You know, Jamie and I were talking about that, and we were deciding we were going to do the every odd number person that calls was going to get a free consultation.
Right.
You know, no.
It's just gimmicky.
It's
you know,
gimmicky,
I mean,
you know?
if you call, we would love to give you a free consultation, as would any financial advisor. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
there's no need to be a certain number, or, you know, this isn't a contest to win tickets to a concert, you know. So,
Yeah.
All right, coming up, we're going to talk about credit cards. Are the benefits you think you have being eliminated from your favorite card, right here on the Keeping Your Money Show.
The ups and downs of a roller coaster are fun for some people, but maybe too nerve-wracking for others. The same is true for the ups and downs of the stock market. If your palms sweat when the market fluctuates, it may be time to reevaluate your investment choices. The ride to your financial future shouldn't keep you awake at night. Call the Keeping Your Money Show at 1-888-98-MONEY to get off the roller coaster and onto solid ground.